Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be revisiting a band I checked out earlier this year. I think it was back in May, a band called Widespread Disease. Now they were a fascinating band to me because they were blackened deathcore, which is something I hadn't heard before, and it very much intrigued me. And when I listened to the first track of theirs, I think it was The Condemned, that was the first track of theirs that I listened to, I quite enjoyed it because it was something different and something interesting and something I'd never ever heard before. Now, a little while before I took a 4-week break due to mental health problems, they messaged me again asking me if I'd like to look at another track of theirs, a track called Creator of All. And I said I would, but then of course I had a few problems and I've put it off for quite some time. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to look at the track Creator of All. Now it is a lyric video as far as I understand. So we'll jump into this and see what we have. So, Creator of All by Widespread Disease. Let's have a look. And there we go. Creator of All by Widespread Disease, and that was heavy. That was heavy as balls. That was insane. You know, the first time I heard this band, I was just so interested in what they were doing. You know, mixing deathcore with black metal elements. You know, and there's even prog elements thrown in there as well. I mean, that's just so heavy. It's absolutely mental, but so good. You know, normally I don't enjoy deathcore because, for me, when you've listened to one deathcore band, you've heard them all. You know, they all play the same type of music. They all have exactly the same tuning. All the riffs seem to sound the same. The vocal style always sounds the same. You know, I find them very uninteresting bands because there's nothing inspired about any of them. They're just copy-pasted bands. But this is something very different. You know, they're mixing up, they're trying something else, and it's working really, really well. I'm pretty sure I said that last time I listened to this band as well. Now, this track kind of confuses me with its lyrical content, and not in a bad way. I'm just not sure which direction it's going. I mean, the track is called Creator of All. And there's a lot in the lyrics to suggest it's talking about God. You know, the alleged creator of all. But it'll be like his sort of malicious and cruel side that, you know, the people who actually read the Bible tend to try and ignore because they think that he's the epitome of all good, when in fact he's a complete and total arsehole. But conversely, there's plenty of things in there to suggest it could also be talking about drug addiction. Or it could be talking about religion as a drug. You know, who knows? But there's those two elements that sort of come through in the lyrics, and, you know, I'm not sure which way it goes. Now, I do have lyrics here, and what I'll say is I actually watched the video silently. I didn't actually listen to the track. I listened to the track silently and typed out all the lyrics because I could not find the lyrics anywhere online. So I went through the video, muted, and just typed out the lyrics as they came up on the screen so that I actually have some lyrics to look at. And what we have is, I am all you need to think you're living. You're barely afloat, but you keep giving in. Each night is the same till you remain aflame. Thinking of the rush that you'll soon be able to savour. What will you even savour? What is left? Now, those opening lines, again, that could be either way. You know, I'm all you need to think that you're living. You're barely afloat, but you keep giving in. Each night is the same till you remain aflame, thinking of the rush that you'll soon be able to savour. But what will you savour? What is left? You know, that could very easily be talking about drugs. You know, each night is the same. You know, you keep giving in. You know, you keep giving in to this drug. You know, every night is the same. You keep thinking of the rush that you'll soon be able to savour, you know, the rush of a drug, you know, that you'll really enjoy. And then, but what will you even savour? What is left? You know, this could ruin your life. This probably already has ruined your life and taken everything away from you. But conversely, it could also be talking about God or religion. You know, I am all you need to think that you're living. You know, people need to feel alive, and people, you know, believe in God for some unknown reason, you know, and they think that sort of is like a purpose for living, you know, and it keeps them alive, it keeps them afloat, it keeps them, you know, moving on. You know, each night is the same, you know, praying before you go to bed or what have you, you know, thinking of the rush that you'll soon be able to savour, you know, maybe looking forward to the eternal life that you've been promised, you know, but what will you savour? What is left? You know, it could be one of two things. And, you know, with the track being called Creator of All, it kind of hints at that. Anyway. Short rush, heat waves followed with insanity, merely a glimmer of the person you were. You are an easy prey for my malicious play. Behind the weakened smiles and unconvinced lies, you only crave to go home and shoot me up now. You only crave to rush to your grave. Now, this part in particular, seems to err more on the side of drug addiction and stuff like that. But again, some elements of it could also be attributed to the malicious and violent side of religion. You know, there's that short rush heat waves followed with insanity. That could be, you know, talking about, you know, injecting drugs into your system. I don't know what the sensation is like. You know, it's not something I'm familiar with. But, you know, the short rush heat waves followed with insanity sort of gives me the sort of idea of the feeling of maybe drugs rushing into your system, and then, you know, hitting, then comes the insanity, you know, the craziness, the high that comes with taking drugs. And then merely a glimmer of the person you were. You know, you're not, when you're hopped up on drugs, you're not who you normally are, and there's maybe only a small hint of who you were. You're an easy prey for my malicious play, behind the weakened smiles and unconvinced lies. Now, you're an easy prey for my malicious play. Again, that could be like, you give in too easily to drugs, you know, I can control you as much as I want. But then there's the behind the weakened smiles and unconvinced lies. That could go either way, you know, unconvinced lies and weakened smiles, you know, that's like the false face of religion, possibly. But it could also be, you know, a condition coming from drug abuse. It's really hard to say. But there is then that line, you only crave to go home and shoot me up now. Again, very much gives you the idea of drugs, but there could also be, you know, going home and, you know, reading the Bible or whatever and sort of getting your fill of religion, you know, having him fill up your soul with his glorious divine light, you know. I don't know. And you only crave to rush to your grave. Again, that could be attributed to drugs. You know, the more you take them, more likely you are to die. Or you could also be, you know, you're wanting to spend eternity with the Lord. You know, it could go either way. This is what's so confusing about these lyrics. Then it goes into what I can only attribute to be the chorus. It says, I lift you up such higher than you ever dreamt, feeding all your ambitions. In this made-up world of tribulations, I am creator of all that you hold dearly, that you have been wanting. To attain what you thirst for, you must simply give in to all I have for you. Rage, feed me. Now, it's worth noting that this is I believe they're French. I think they're from Paris. So it says, I lift you up such higher than you ever dreamt. I think that should really be, I lift you up so much higher than you ever dreamt. Feeding your ambitions in this made-up world of tribulation. So again, this could be attributed to either drugs or religion. You know, I lift you up, you know, feeding all your ambitions. You know, I make you think that you can do whatever you want. You know, if you've taken drugs or whatever, you get this sort of false sense of, I can't think of the word I'm looking for now. You know, you feel so much more sure of yourself. You know, you've got very little fear, so you're just going to go ahead for it. But again, it could also be, you know, this falsehood of religion where they make you believe that, you know, with God on your side, nothing can go wrong. You will attain whatever you want. You will get into heaven. All this other bull that they feed you. You know, in this made-up world of tribulations, I'm the creator of all that you hold dearly. That just mainly suggests to me, God, you know, I'm the creator of all that you hold dearly. I created everything around you, everything that you care and love about, you know, care about and love, you know, I created it for you. But again, to attain what you thirst for, you must simply give in to all I have for you. Now, that could be, do you thirst for the high of taking drugs? Do you thirst for, you know, the escape from the real world from taking drugs? You know, you can just simply give in to everything I've got for you, you know. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. But again, it could also be to attain what you thirst for, whether it be everlasting life and goodness and purity of soul. You just simply give in to religion and do everything that they tell you. And then it says, rage, feed me. Now, the feed me could be feeding me more drugs, or it could be, I don't know. Anyway, carries on. You can't resist the appeal of the rift. The fortune awaits, it heals you in all its light. You are an easy prey for my malicious play, behind the weakened smiles and unconvinced lies. You only crave to go home and shoot me up now. Push all the rest aside, you only crave to rush to your grave. So there was that pre-chorus bit, but they've altered it ever so slightly. Then it goes back into that chorus. I lift you up such higher than you ever dreamt, feeding all your ambitions in this made-up world of tribulations. I am creator of all that you hold dearly, that you have been wanting. To attain what you thirst for, you must simply give in to all I have for you. The pain you'll feel will be boundless. Once you have forsaken all that you love, I have stripped you of your sanity. You, rage, feed me, you'll be mine once again. Now that final bit there, the pain you'll feel will be boundless. Once you have forsaken all that you love, I have stripped you of your sanity. Again, could be attributed to both, either drugs or God/religion. And that very last line as well, you'll be mine once again. That could be, you'll be mine once again. You'll join me back up here in heaven where I first created you before I put you on earth. Or you'll be mine once again where this drug addict is going back to a drug. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what this song is saying, but both parts make sense to me. So, that's kind of cool. And, music, more often than not, it's just up to personal interpretation. I just happen to be in two minds about what this one's talking about. So it's really, really cool. And like I said, the track is really, really heavy. And I really enjoy what they do. The drummer in this band is insane. Whether his drums are triggered or they're, like, maybe even supplementing the drums with maybe additional like drum machine effects or something. I don't know, but the drumming in this track is just simply insane. The musicianship is great. The mixture of the deathcore elements and the prog elements and the black metal elements. The fact that they mix up the vocal styles, which I've mentioned on numerous occasions, is something I really enjoy. I think it's really, really good, and that's what makes this band so interesting to me. They're trying something different, and nobody asked you. They're trying something different and they're making it work. It's really, really interesting, and I find it brilliant. I think it's just great. But I'm curious to find out what anybody else thinks this track's about, because I'm still in two minds. But I did enjoy it, and I simply want to hear more of their music. So I don't know what else I can say about that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so. By all means, drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a massive help to me, considering every piece of content I create for this channel gets immediately demonetized the moment I upload it, which is a little bit frustrating, but, it is what it is. There's an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire it. There's a limit on how frequently you can do that, and that's just to be fair to other people who make suggestions through more regular means, such as YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram comments. And if you do make a suggestion through those more regular means, through Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. Plus the fact I did just recently take 4 weeks off, so I've got a bit of a backlog there too. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get to it, I'm afraid. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the major facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative community. And that's something I believe in very, very strongly, and it's something that gets very widely ignored. Something that sort of gets brushed under the carpet and, nobody thinks anything of it. But the problem is, it is actually a very big problem. It's a very big deal that's been going on for decades. Just nobody wants to talk about it. Every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear these on a daily basis. From the most violent and heinous of these crimes, where somebody is brutally murdered because of the colour of their skin, because of their religious beliefs or their sexual identity, down to the most childish and petty of these crimes, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. We hear these in every facet of the media every single day. But what we never hear about is the people from the alternative community that are getting violently attacked on a daily basis. And it is a daily basis. Hundreds, if not thousands of people from the alternative community are attacked daily, just purely because of the fact that they listen to alternative music or wear alternative clothing. But this never gets spoken about. The last time it was spoken about in a wide capacity was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally assaulted by a group of 5 or 6 people who beat them so severely, they stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he thankfully survived the assault. He was in a coma for around about a week and a half, but he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just purely for the fact that she listened to alternative music and wore alternative fashion. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been. But, you know, over time, other news stories came in and it sort of faded into the background, which is to be expected. But the thing is, in the 14 years since that happened, we've not heard anything similar. But there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of similar incidents in that time, and nothing has been said. And the main difference here is the fact that no one died. And that is unacceptable. You know, we shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this gets talked about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. You know, every day we hear about these entitled Karens calling the police because there was a man of colour walking down the street, or there was an Asian man sitting at a bus stop. You know, we hear these on a daily basis, these little petty little things, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, it's not wrong. It is, you know, very, very wrong. You know, racism is a terrible thing and it is madly rampant in the world at this precise moment. But when we're hearing about some entitled white woman bitching and complaining because she's got a problem with the colour of someone's skin over the fact that someone has been beaten to within an inch of their life, there's something fundamentally wrong. You know, yes, the racism is bad, but I would rather hear about someone getting violently assaulted so that something can get done. Because if we ignore it, it's, you know, it's not going to go away. And if we ignore it, nothing's going to get done. If anything, the more we ignore it, the more it's going to happen, because the people committing these crimes are going to think that they can get away with it. And if we carry on ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before someone else loses their life, and that is not acceptable. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring this to the forefront. They want more people to realise that this is a very major problem, and that it is much, much bigger than people think it is. Because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. They want to put a stop to this before someone else loses their life over something as trivial as their taste in music. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a heck of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, or maybe even one of these, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff over on their web store. You know, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.